Hello, my name's Alexis Johnson and I'd like to talk about the books that made us. And the book that I'd like to talk about is Waterland by Graham Swift. And prior to reading this book, I'd probably read hundreds of novels, but this one was different. And it was the way that it connected with me personally that made it different. It was like I'd made a discovery, really, about storytelling and how you could pull together big historical events and big themes that novelists like to cover, but also relate it to personal histories. It's principally about two families, the Cricks and the Atkinsons, and how their lives and their histories interweave with big historical events. They are two families who are separated by social class and wealth, but joined together by a very dark secret that has an impact and a consequence on the present, on the Atkinsons and the Cricks in the present. And again, I was able to relate to that very clearly in terms of my own immediate family and ancestors. It made me think a lot about that. And it was a bit of a discovery, really, about storytelling and how we can tell stories in different ways. But also it felt very much like that experience of being sat around with family and friends when you talk about stories and sometimes go off on a tangent, but then you also put it into the context of the place or the people who you're with. So it asks questions, I think, about who we are, where we're from, and that sense of place, and whether you grow up in Middlesbrough or Manchester or Gloucestershire or Kent or Doncaster. Then it doesn't really matter. But what matters is that sense of place and how that impacts on who you are. And again, through the novel, the things like land reclamation of the fens, the river ouse, the migration of eels, are interwoven into big historical events like the First and Second World War. And I think really the important thing about this book is how it makes sense of reality. And that's what struck me, I think, when I first read this book, is how to make sense of reality. And again, it's through personal history. It's through a sense of who we are and a sense of place. And it helped me in my own life to make sense of all of that, with the core element of that being around storytelling. So again, it brought me back to sat around listening to family and friends talk about those stories. And again, it really made me think how important that is to us as we navigate through life. Storytelling makes sense of everything. And I think that's why Waterland is such an important book, and that's why you should read it.